them, and I will introduce well, I'll let them introduce themselves, but I'll say who our panel members are, and then they can introduce themselves and tell a little bit about what their groups have been doing, because that's the first thing we're going to talk about is how to keep people engaged in the SCA right now in the time of COVID, because it's difficult, right? So we have Their Excellencies Namron, Baroness Uliana, and Baron Micolay. His mundane name's throwing me off. But I know you guys can't change them because I have that locked down. So, and then we also have the Baroness of Wiesenfeuer, Baroness Muireen. So they will be the ones to answer the questions. And then, of course, if anybody else wants to chime in, I'm sure they won't mind, but they are official panel members. So I chose them, I'm not going to lie, because I've seen what they've been doing, and it's pretty cool stuff. So, all right. So very first question for you guys. What have you been doing to keep people in your groups engaged since we all have not been able to get together in person?
Well, thank you for having us here and having this cat. Glad to be here to talk about it. As I'm sure everybody's figured out, it is a little bit trying to figure out how to keep people engaged. We have been stretching the reaches of our imagination to come up with new and creative ways to do it. What we have kind of found is that the things we did at the beginning that people were interested in have not necessarily stuck around. So we've been trying to come up with new things, because a Zoom populist meeting was fun the first time and still fun the second time, and then it went downhill from there. So we've been trying to come up with new and creative things to make it different, which I don't know what we're going to do next week, but we'll try to think of something.
So for those of you that don't know, they actually did a puppet populace where Their Excellencies made puppets of themselves, and then Her Majesty is actually a member of our barony along with Sir Vincenti. Yep, there's Her Excellency and His Excellency in puppet form. So that was super fun and super cute. And Her Majesty and Vincenti had puppets as well, and lots of other people did too. So that was something kind of creative and fun that
So yeah, we did that, and then the populist meeting that we did before that, we had populist bingo or Zoom bingo, to where we made little bingo cards that were things that would happen during the meeting, and whoever got that got a little prize. Oh, which I forgot to make that prize. I was supposed to deliver that, and I failed. But anyways,
oops.
I just now remember that, like literally as we were talking. Trying to come up with things like that to make it different each time, so that it's not the same old.
Yep, exactly. Maureen, did you have something to add?
Hi, everybody. Those things are awesome, and really, I think a little bit of name run is also that right there, little baby Alice being real adorable.
Oh yeah,
like that probably helps a little bit.
Are we calling this really adorable right now? Because I'm trying to focus, and she's like scaling.
It's adorable.
I find it adorable.
Okay. Yeah.
As long as it works for y'all.
But I just got back from taking my kid to a Ninja Warrior class, so I mean,
we're gonna have to get into those when she gets a little older. So
I
would support that. But we have been in the middle of a move, so we haven't been doing as much as we've been wanting to do. But the unpacking is wrapping up right now, so we'll be doing a little bit more. We've been using Google Meetings for our populist and operators meetings, and while it hasn't been as fun as the puppet populist meetings, we've been doing a pre-meeting social hour with our barony to give people time to be in the call and see everyone's faces and just sit and chat about, hey, how's your life been? I miss you guys. This is what we're doing. This is the project I'm working on with the generalized populace. Before we actually, okay, now we're going to talk about business. And it's led to more people attending the meeting, and not all of them stick around for the business, but most of them do. And we've also been having a weekly arts and sciences hangout. It's not always necessarily a class or any kind of project focusing. You don't even have to be working on anything. Like I said, I had them turned on while I was unpacking stuff. It was just sitting there listening to everybody talk and chiming in while unpacking. And it's just something to allow for that socialization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gone to a couple of those that Ginger's done, and that's been great. And that's a really fantastic idea. So, love it.
For events, though, I mean, we both have virtual events, and those went pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about some of the things that you think worked well for virtual events in case other people have those coming up and want to steal ideas?
Well, we kind of stole a lot of Nairn's ideas. So
Yeah,
how
we
about I let
did.
them do that? I don't want to take credit for that.
We're gonna steal them back, so don't worry.
There you go.
Because we're getting ready to do our second virtual event. I'm trying to think what went over really well. We did a day of iron artisan competition that seemed pretty popular. And we're planning on doing some variety of that again, but hoping to change it up a little bit just to keep it new. I'm trying to think. Oh, the Roll20. We did a Roll20 tournament, which I don't know much about, but from what I understand is like an online D&D. Why are you laughing at me, Micolay? Anyways, you
Ignore
don't know
him.
what it is
Because
either.
I don't know what it is either.
Oh.
Anyway, but people were super excited about it, and we had several members of our populace that did a really good job running that, and I think that was probably something that we wouldn't be able to have at a regular event necessarily, but fit really well in the virtual world and really worked out well.
Mm-hmm. I think thinking back to, because I was the autocrat for Bees and Foyer's virtual event, we did, and we stole all of this from Namron, virtual games. So like scavenger hunt or Their Excellencies Say kind of things, you know, show us your favorite scroll, show us your favorite garb, tell us about your favorite event, just things to try to get people, you know, interacting. Yeah. And then we also did an Easter egg hunt because our event was supposed to be in April and then got canceled and rescheduled for June. So that was kind of fun too, virtually. We just posted pictures of, you know, Easter eggs, and then people had to type in and say where they saw them. So that was kind of fun. Their Excellencies did, Their Excellencies, Namron, sorry, did drive-by courts, so that was cool. And then Their Excellencies Wiesenfeuer also, you know, had a court that was good too, to recognize people and get awards out there. So yeah.
We're doing some different things for our second virtual event because it's going to be our 30th year anniversary for Yule. And for that, we've been looking into a lot more of the things that are like historical things. I've been going through old copies of our newsletter from when our barony was a shire and pulling up little like screen clips of articles, or this week it was a packing list suggestion for newcomers from 1984. And I thought it was really neat, so I took a screen capture of it and put it on there, and I was like, what? What's missing? Because I don't see anything missing. This also looks like my weekend packing list, aside from children's garb. What else? I mean, it doesn't look like packing for events has changed very much at all. The way we camp doesn't seem to have changed much at all, which is really interesting to see. And there are a few other things that I'm going to be putting up there maybe once a week to get people hyped up on the history of the barony. And that's mostly because our 30th year anniversary is coming up, but I don't see how that could be a bad thing for any group to be doing. I'm going to be pulling ads from those, or event ads from those as well, and just putting them on the other barony Facebook pages and being like, hey, I found this. Y'all might think it's neat.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So I'm going to pick on Melanie because I saw that she joined, and her mom already told me that a lot of the ideas that they've been doing down there were hers anyway. So maybe we can get her to talk about what Elfsie's been doing and she's been doing as their hospitaller, if she's listening. She's still muted. I think she's ignoring me. Maybe we'll come back to her.
I'm on my phone and I've never used Zoom on my phone before.
Oh, you're fine.
So for Elsie, I've mostly been doing kind of like questions of the week that I've been, because I'm our hospitaller, but I'm also our social media deputy, like default, because I love doing stuff like that. So I'm just like, Sonia, can I please do this? So we've been doing like weekly questions every Wednesday where I post it on our hospitaller Facebook and our group page. And then on Fridays, I always post like some sort of newcomer advice that I call notes for newcomers. And I put them on both our Facebook and our Instagram. And then Saturdays, I just started Guess the Word using emojis. And it's all SCA edition. So it's like, I think last week I did like bridge battle or something, and it was an emoji of a bridge and then two swords crossing. And
Cool.
so it's been people really talking online and still like communicating with each other. And some of the questions it's kind of been slow because a lot of like teachers are going back to work the past couple weeks, and that's a lot of our people in Elsie. So it's slowed down a little bit, but for the most part, people have been answering like most of them.
Awesome. That's great. And then you also did the cool pictures of people doing mundane things in garb.
We call it the SCA at home because that's been the hashtag that all the social media platforms have been doing, is trying to encourage it at home. So we did a series of photos where we were all doing something mundane but completely garbed up. I mean, there are pictures of Duchess Sonia in gorgeous white garb on a tractor.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was actually, and it was so much fun dressing up in our garb and getting to feel being in our garb again, but also being silly with it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Her Excellency Elfsie had actually talked about doing a throwdown to the other baronies to, do the in garb at home, SCA at home. So maybe you guys will have some sort of challenge or battle going at some point.
I'm like, I still have a bunch of photos I never posted that are different than what I already have.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Anything else that you can think of?
No, I think for the most part, that's really all I've been doing. I mean, we've been taking some of our academies that we recorded on Facebook Live last year, and we've been taking those recordings and moving them to our YouTube channel and just showing those ones. But for the most part, I think that's pretty much it. We're also doing like the social Zoom meetings, the ANS meetings, stuff like that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
no problem.
So, okay. Now let's talk about, other than the fact that we can't get together right now, what would you guys say is the hardest part of keeping people engaged, if I could talk? Is it, people are doing other things and, they're not making the time for it, or is the technology the issue? What would you say have you seen be the biggest stumbling block?
I'm going to try and do this, but she's not very happy, so we'll see. I think from what I've seen, it's kind of twofold. Like we have the group that's comfortable with the technology, and then there's definitely a group that's not. Some of them have, as time progressed and saw this is going to last more than just like a month or two, have tried it out. But there's still a good chunk of people they just aren't online. And like in reality, I'm not a huge online person, but I guess the good thing is being in this position, I've kind of had to become one, or at least try. And so that's helped me stay more involved. And then I think people are finding other things, either other things to fill their time or, sorry, 2 minutes. Okay. And I know it's a challenge that I have seen, and so my guess is other people have too. Like when I had to get together and go to a meeting, it was a lot easier for me to, I guess, I don't know if make that a priority is the right word, but like I knew I had to leave the house at 5:30 to get to a meeting. And now, especially with Alice, a lot of it is like the time will sneak up on me. And so like I've missed some classes online. I intended to go, but it's just different when I don't actually have to go somewhere. So that's a good thing and a hard thing, I think.
Yep. I 100% agree. I've missed a couple of pop meetings and classes and stuff because I was like, oh, that was today. So yeah.
And one of the problems that I think we've also started to see with the technology is not people that can't use the technology. There are people that have that. A big part of it is there are people who use this format all day, every day, and they spend 8 hours a day sitting here looking at a computer screen with 16 boxes on it, and they don't want to do that when they get home. So for people like that, it's challenging because it's just like work for them, except it's more fun topics, I hope, but it is a challenge. And I know that there are people that are not tuning into the stuff we're doing via the web conferencing because that's what they're doing all day.
Yeah.
On that note, it's going to be interesting now that we have both public school and universities coming back into session, how many people are going to be really wanting to do that? Because I'm in my second week of teaching, and I'm going to tell you, my eyes get tired. And come evening time, I don't want to look at any screen.
Right. You just need a break. Mm-hmm. Definitely makes sense.
I also think another part of the problem, though, is just a generalized exhaustion with the way the world is right now. There are a lot of people who are just fine with Zoom and technology and everything else like that, but the fact that we don't have any idea when things are going to be able to happen in person again is a little bit depressing, honestly. Like, to be entirely honest, it's not helpful, but it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And for some extroverted people who get their energy from being around people, like myself, this is kind of torture.
Yeah.
I can see all of you, and I love your faces and your happiness and like getting to see you, but it's not the same, and it's kind of just taunting me. Like, I'm gonna do it anyway, but it's not. That's what a lot of people have been having problems with, is that they want to be around their friends, they want to laugh, they want to joke, they want to have those free-flowing communications of just catching up and feeling like you're around people, but it's really hard to do within the confines of technology. There's just not any technology that can replicate that feeling, regardless of what you're using, it doesn't allow for it. And sometimes it's really hard to get at the motivation to do that when you know it's just going to be just enough that kind of, but it's not going to be quite.
Yeah.
And that's hard on people emotionally, and they're already going through a lot. Like, everybody's going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's part of the problem.
I get that. I totally do. For me, this is at least something, and I'm not going to lose it and stab my husband. So,
Well, it's good because we like your husband, or I do anyway.
I like him too, but the
I like your
majority
husband,
of
but
the
you can
time.
stab him. He's a Don. He should not be able to stab him.
He's an MOD. If I can stab him,
yeah.
he has failed somehow. No.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, seriously, I totally get what you guys are saying. It's not as good, but it does help me to at least see you guys and, get to talk about stuff. And so the classes have been good for me, the virtual classes, because I'm like, okay, I have something to do tonight that isn't just, staring at my TV. So.
And Cynthia's right. There have been people who are getting together unofficially.
Mm-hmm.
And while we cannot officially endorse that, I do know that some people are going through and, like, they have their pod of people. This is my family. This is the people I see every week. We're all being as careful as we can. And if that's your safety level, that's your comfort level, we're not going to tell you you can't do that.
Right.
I know there's a group of people in Tulsa who all work together. They all work together. Half of them live together in various houses because they're all young people who have each other as roommates. And, like, there's no point in them not getting together and practicing if they are living together and working together 5 days a week.
Right.
Why should they not see each other on the weekends? But that's fine in small groups. We just cannot do that on a large scale right now.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
safely.
And I think that's another thing, that's kind of frustrating too is, with the numbers continuing to change, it's like, we got to have, Wiesenfeuer had archery practice a couple of times and then got bumped back down and now they're back up. And so
we were able to have archery this week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
so go ahead.
I think Namron's in phase 2 now, so theoretically could be holding armored combat practices.
Yes, and I think they're planning to.
I think he's planning to, but like the problem that we face, since it's normally a combined practice, so many fighters are from Wiesenfeuer Score Guard, and you guys are in phase 1 Score Guards at a stop. That really cuts back on our available fighters. So like right now, I think it's like 1 or 2 people that may be coming.
Yeah.
Because Micolay's on the road and all of that. So, and personally, I'm interested to see what happens in the next couple of weeks with school starting, especially at the university. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't stay in a phase 2.
Right.
Just the numbers in Norman have started to go up. So it's just hard because it's going to be that back and forth, and everybody gets excited because we get to start doing things, and then
it gets rolled back again.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating and adds to the complication. Okay, so let's see, what else do I have to talk about here? Oh, so tell me if there's anything that you guys can think of that's been kind of an unexpected positive that has come out of this whole situation.
So I got this one for sure. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm not at home right now. I travel for work all the time. And one of the things that I have really appreciated about moving things to virtually and online is that I'm doing this Zoom call from my hotel room. And I've done populist meetings from airports.
He did his puppet populist meeting at an airport break.
At an airport. I've done business meetings from hotel rooms. And I've still been able, I haven't missed anything, I don't think, unless I'm actually working at that moment, I can be gone and still do things. And that has been nice in making this transition easier, or at least that's a nice benefit that I've really enjoyed. And that doesn't affect, most people, but with my work, this has been great as far as that is concerned. It is also way easier to go to a meeting when you have a 1-year-old and you're at your house. So 'cause we can just go in and put her, we can take a break for 2 seconds and go and put her to bed and get her to bed, and then we don't have to deal with that. So that has actually been a nice kind of benefit of the online version too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got to agree with that. Some of you are aware that we had to step up early because Johannes was deploying like that week. So he did our populist meetings and business meetings for a couple of months in an entirely different country. So that's something that if we were having traditional populist meetings, the business meetings, he would not have been able to attend them. And that was really nice to be able to have him there, especially with our first few. That I was not doing that for the first time entirely by myself, which with him being military, I've always known was a possibility and had considered it, but that was pre-COVID. So on top of all those other new things, I also wasn't just on my own. So it has been really nice for that. Also, though, it allows for some really neat things for events that wouldn't really be possible in person.
Mm-hmm.
For example, for 30th year coming up, for Venus and Pure, I plan on going and contacting all of our previous landed nobles and interviewing them and talking about what the barony was like when they were Baron and Baroness, and learning about the history of the barony in that way through video. And I'm going to be putting it up on the Facebook page during the event. But some of those people haven't been around the SCA in forever and probably wouldn't have gone to an event. But if I can come to them at their house, they're probably willing to put on a tunic and talk to me.
Right.
And also it allows for people who can't make it to events to be able to see that kind of stuff. And we don't have to worry about weather, which is also really nice, because Yule sometimes is not pleasant.
Right.
With the weather. But I'll actually be able to go through and interview them and ask them about what the barony was like then, what the SCA was like then, what they did differently than what we do now, and have those recordings that we can go through and edit a little bit if there's an awkward pause or something like that. And they'll be up there forever, basically, if we wanted to put them on the wiki or the baronial website or something. And that's a different type of looking at the history of the SCA than we usually have access to, because most of those things are usually done in an in-person class where we don't really have the ability to record things because bringing electronic devices is frowned upon.
Right. Yeah, that's been a really good, unexpected positive for me too, is I've spent time with a lot of people that are not in my group on these. And then, we've got a lot of great classes that have been recorded that people can go back and check out anytime, even if they can't be there during the class. So.
We also found too when we did our online event that we reached different people, or people who wouldn't have come to our local event, either because they're from somewhere else in the kingdom, or we even had people who couldn't go to events, period, anymore, who were able to do it. We had one of the winners of one of our contests was from Germany, and had not been to an SCA event in years because there was nothing close to them and they couldn't travel, or I don't know the details exactly, but and they got to come to an SCA event and do stuff. So that's been kind of cool that we get to reach out to that and access those people and bring the SCA to them, which is.
Well, we have several local members with health issues that haven't been able to come to an event in quite a while. And they were super excited because they could participate because it was online and they could check in for a little while and then,
That's awesome. Yeah.
And they came to class. Like we've had people doing classes, or I had someone message me that I think it was actually one of the Service Academy classes on how to volunteer if you're
with disabilities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was super excited about that, and now she's looking for ways to get involved because she hadn't even thought about that there were ways for her to get involved. So
that's
I think the online stuff's been positive for that.
Definitely. Yeah, I know there's even been like Helena that lives down in Oak
She's
Springs.
outside of Ada.
Ada, yeah.
Yeah.
She's been able to do a lot because it's all been online.
And she was so excited. Briarts was going to be her first event. Oh, she was so excited.
I know. I felt so bad when it got canceled. She immediately messaged us because she was going to travel with us and was like, I'm like,
yeah, she's been spending a lot of time on a Discord server, an SCA Discord server and some things like that, and really enjoying it.
That's awesome.
So another benefit is we've saved a lot on gas. So
yeah, we have too. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about this, but is there anything that you guys want to mention about things that other people besides you in your barony have doing? Maureen, you said that people are doing open ANS virtually. Is there other people that are stepping up to do things online that have been cool?
Somebody in our barony has started hosting a whole bunch of classes,
He stole
like a
mine.
whole symposium
It's
for
awesome.
weeks on end now, and it's really awesome.
I was
you
not
should,
talking
you should
about
take a page out of her book.
I'll try. She's pretty cool though. I don't know.
Y'all are ridiculous. I think Bringwalad, and it was mentioned in the chat. The barony wasn't, or the group wasn't mentioned, but I'm fairly certain it's Bringwalad, is having a Minecraft hosted event soon.
So yes, it is Bringwalad, and our fall event is virtual. It's the first weekend of October. So this month through the end of August, they're building the basic building blocks for Castleton and Minecraft. And then throughout the month of September, there's going to be a contest to continue building Minecraft. I don't know Minecraft, so what I've seen so far looks like Castleton, when I think about it creative. But yes, so that's what we're doing. One of the things among classes and hunts and all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, we have a Discord server where every Tuesday evening is our Populace in the Park, but of course it's not a park, so it's Populace in Discord. And then it's like our Clothier Guild, our Scribal Guild, all the guilds are having Discords, and then they'll have also a Discord meeting while court's going on, so people can talk about what's happening in court. So I have found the younger generations really love Discord. It's when you start getting to the older generations, we're like, well, what is this? So that is how a lot. I know at one point our Brewers Guild, they brewed and then they found out who all in the barony wanted to take part. So they took like little tasting bottles and dropped them off at people's porches throughout the barony. And then they had an event and had a tasting together.
That's
awesome.
I love that. Super fun.
Uliana, didn't you have like an embroidery class or something like that where everybody came and picked up like a kit from your porch?
I did a basket weaving class and put kids.
That's what it was.
People picked them up, and then I did the class on Zoom, and everybody could make the basket, and she joined me for that one too. That was exciting. But it was actually that a lot of people were really excited about it, I think, because they actually got to participate in the class, kind of like the tasting would be. It wasn't just sitting and watching. There were little challenges just with getting stuff to people, and they have to be pretty local to do that. I'm trying to think of some more ideas of classes like that either I could put together kits or it'd be stuff that
People would have
yeah,
at their
or would
house.
be easy to get at Walmart. Like the basket things, you can buy it all on Amazon, but you're buying enough to make 20 baskets. So,
Wow, yeah.
or something like that, or it's a big outlay of money because it's a lot less expensive to buy it in bulk. And I already have the class kit that I got from a silent auction, so it worked out well. But
Oh, cool. Yeah, anything hands-on like that, I would think would be really good to keep people involved. So other people on the call, those were all the questions I had. What questions do you guys have, or what things are you guys doing in your groups that you want to tell us about?
Our group is doing a largesse derby for Elsie. So we ran out of largesse for their excellencies to give to children. And so it's just something easy that they can do at home, especially since a lot of people are at home working. So keep their hands busy.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Anybody else?
So earlier, someone asked in the chat, what are we doing to help newcomers? And that has actually been we have not really done much with newcomers. Helena is about an only newcomer, and she's actually been around for a while. She just hasn't gotten to go to things. Like we actually met her in person probably a year ago or more. Maybe 2 years ago. Anyways, and she just had not been able to get to an event, so this helped her. But other than that, we have really struggled to get any newcomers to the SCA. Our largest recruitment event was canceled right at the beginning of the COVID stuff, and that's normally where we get most of our people from. Because if you're interested in medieval stuff and you're living anywhere near Norman, you come to the Norman Medieval Fair. When that was canceled, we missed out on that great recruitment opportunity. So I don't know if other groups are doing, I know the other groups are doing other stuff, but we don't currently have any much going on with that.
I know Northkeep did a virtual demo, and it wasn't a recruitment demo necessarily. It was more of an educational demo, but that's something I feel like if we had people that had the know-how that, and if we had venues for it, obviously you'd have to have people that wanted you to come do a demo, you know, have to have an audience. But she said it wasn't hard at all because she just had like a heavy fighter come talk about his gear, and people that were doing like illumination or embroidery or whatever come and talk about their stuff. And I've been trying since we had that class to think of what kinds of, you know, how we could find places to go do demos, and I haven't really come up with much. But.
So, and this is probably more I'm telling my wife about this so we can remember it. But we should look at doing, since so many classes and schools have gone online and are doing Zoom things. I don't know if it's feasible to do kind of a Zoom demo to different schools. That could be doesn't take a whole lot to do, and to reach out to people that way. Maybe not getting members, but you know, it might be getting members that in a few years or become adults and want to come and join us.
Absolutely. And it's also part of our educational stuff. And it's also engaging our current members because, hey, you want something to do, you're bored, come help us out with this demo. And I know Johanna ran the one for Northkeep, and she said, I just did it on my lunch hour at work and threw garb on. And, so it's one of those things where it might be easier to get people to do a demo at an odd time during the day that they normally couldn't do because they're doing it at home. So just something to think about.
This has been a half-baked thought that I've had for a little bit, that maybe we don't need to do a traditionalized interactive demo. There might be a possibility where we could put together a small commercial type, but more local video, similar to what they have on SCA.org and on STOR.org, but for our group. Like, this is who Visa Pure is. These are our people. This is what we're into. These are what we're doing all the time. Come join us. Message me on Facebook. Whatever you need to do. Come hang out and talk with us. We're doing this week of the month, every single month, every Monday, whatever. Like, come meet us. Come see who we are. And then giving it out to our Populous members to just have for their social networks, because they are already in the Barony. They probably are connected to some sort of, like, I'm on the Friends of Choctaw community page. I've got a friend who's in, like, a gaming community page for the Mid-Dell area because he plays, what is that tabletop game with all the little miniatures? 40K. He plays 40K, and they share a bunch of, like, nerdy things on there. And it's just like, hey, here's a 3-minute commercial or whatever about people you can actually meet and come hang out with and see. And these are the things we're doing locally, and this is where you can find it. And these are real people you can actually talk to who are inviting you to come talk to them. And when we're allowed to be out in public again with each other, you can come see them. You can hit them with a sword. They can teach you how to do that cool thing that they did. Or they can show you how to make that really pretty dress they wore. But right now you can talk to them about it. And it would be more personalized and localized, and it would really use people's already existing social networks. And that could be a method of recruiting that doesn't involve looking for a specific venue to host, like a school or a church or a community center or whatever. We don't necessarily, while we're on the internet, have to rely on those things.
No, not at all.
We can use our already connected social networks and follower bases and those groups we're already in that are kind of SCA adjacent, but not necessarily, those people don't necessarily know about the SCA.
Right.
But we have enough interconnected interests that they might be, if we can tell them about it real quick and they can see people that they can maybe actually talk to in person.
Well, and this is something that we've talked about on the recruiting and retaining for young people classes, is doing more targeted sorts of commercials or videos or whatever you want to call it. Because, like, I can think of a bunch of different like brewing type things that I'm a part of online. And if some of our brewers one weekend were like, hey, we're making this 1503 beer this weekend, and did a little bit of stuff and then put it out on one of those Facebook pages, these people are already brewing. Maybe they have an interest in medieval brewing and becoming a part of the SCA. But if we could do more targeted types of recruitment in that kind of way, that might, and that's something we could experiment with now while we're not doing the whole big huge demo of here's all the things that we do, But So yeah, I don't know. There's lots of options. We just have to tap into them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to exactly do that yet. Like I said, it's a half-baked idea. I don't know how we would get those people together to record those things, or if we would have everybody record them individually and then get somebody who knows how to splice the video, put it all together. I'm not sure with all that yet. That's still rolling around in my brain. Is like, okay, this is a neat idea. How can we make it actionable?
Mhm.
That's something I haven't fully processed or figured out yet, but in theory, it could work.
Her Excellency just texted me and wanted me to apologize. She's getting Alice to bed, so that's why she's not here right now.
No problem. That's what I figured. I could see her getting fussier and fussier, and I'm like, I almost said, "Hun, if you need to go, we get it." We totally
That's
get
one of the good benefits is that she can just go do that. So.
it. Yep, exactly. So, all right. Well, did anybody have anything else they wanted to ask about or talk about? If not, we can let you go and give you back 10 minutes of your evening.
Thank you again, Kat, for hosting this. I think it was really good.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for attending, and pass that along to Uliana as well. And thank you, Maureen. I appreciate it. You guys have a good evening, and I will get the video posted tomorrow. And
Sure.
Kat, be safe during the hurricane. Keep us posted on
Plan
Facebook.
to. Yeah, I will.
Sounds good.
Fortunately, I live in a second floor apartment,
Well, that's good.
so
For
I
sure.
will keep everybody on apprised of what's going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Bye,
Y'all
everybody.
Take care.
Have a
Bye,
good
everybody.
night.
Y'all have a good night.
Bye. Thank you.